Hello and welcome to the first No Load Time of 2018. My name is Jose Velez, and with me is the most interesting man in the world, Joel Young.
What's good, guys? Welcome to No Load Time. It's good to be back with you here in 2018, and we're doing it big, man. We're doing it big.
And we're doing it different. Now you see who we are.
That's
So
right.
we're here to talk to you guys, and we really hope that we can take this to the next level, and we hope you guys enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're new to the show, you can find us even more of our past episodes. You can subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play. But if you're finding us for the first time on YouTube, we're glad to have you aboard here on No Load Time.
Yeah, check out that episode 9, which is our favorite games of all time. And just to put it out there before we continue, again, we're not journalists. We're not paid. We're not cashing checks. We're not. I mean, we're just two guys that really love video games and movies and geeky stuff. So it's been a long time coming. We've been doing this since May on as a podcast form. You can check us out on definitely on SoundCloud, Google Play, and of course iTunes. But we wanted to take it to a step, take it a step further, and we wanted to share some things with you guys. And we're using the YouTube platform now, so we're hoping that you guys can keep up with us, and hoping to meet a lot of new fans out there. And I'm really excited, Joel. So I'm both nervous and I'm hyped. I'm pumped.
I know, and that's the thing I love about us. Like you were just saying in the beginning, it's like, obviously we're not journalists or anything. We're just clear fanboys. So like what we're talking about here is just really just passions from our heart. Like it's just stuff that we when we started the show, we just made it with the sense of, this is stuff that we're passionate about, stuff that we just enjoy. And it's great to have the opportunity where instead of us just sitting down talking about this, at a table, which is how we started. Now we can do this with the camera on, and you guys can see and hear our real dialogue all the time. And every episode might be different. There's times we're going to have, we've had breaking news where we just cover, and other times where it just might be topics. But, we're here to have you guys grow and learn with us, and we're excited for what the future holds for No Load Time, especially for 2018, because there's some big stuff coming, man.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. And we may want to jump right into just telling you guys a little bit of who we are. We don't want to overwhelm you guys. Like I've said, we've been doing this in May. Of course, our first 3 episodes are pretty rough. We're pretty new at what we were doing. So, excuse our stumbles and whatnot. But I'm really excited. Of course, I just want to talk a little bit about ourselves, Joel. I've been a gamer for pretty much my entire life since I was 4 years old. My first experience was, it's blurry, but it was either Combat for the 2600 or Donkey Kong Arcade, and love Street Fighter, love the TMNT arcade games. Grew up in the arcades, saw the legit console wars between Nintendo and Sega back in the late 80s and 90s, and up until what the console is right now, which is very, very different, but it still carries a lot of the same weight. Basically, that's who I am. I mean, I've been doing gaming for a long time. Like I've said multiple times in the podcast before, I'm a sucker for art style and art design. I love video game music. Video game music to me is better than mainstream music. So it's anytime that I see a video game that elevates the art form, like I spoke very, very highly last year about Nier Automata. Seeing games like that with impeccable art design and music that just takes you to the next level. This sort of things are to me what takes it and what makes it better. But just to share that with you guys real quick, and Joel, if you want to take over and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so obviously not been a gamer as long as Obed. You could probably see I'm much younger, more youthful. But yeah, I've my most of my console experiences have to do with PlayStation. So I've owned PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, obviously PS4, even the PSP Slimline as it came out. So I've always been playing on PlayStation, on GameCube, plenty of other experiences with with friends playing some of the old classics, N64, etc. So I have a respect for, I think, the newer generation of gaming. But really, my background is more from the geeky side of comic books, which is why you see surrounded behind me some stuff like my Hulk and Groot and Spider-Man. I've always been growing up with comic books. My father passed that down to me. So that's some of my first remembrance is reading a lot of the original Spider-Man comics that Stan Lee himself created. So my dad passed down a lot of stuff to me. He also passed down a lot of the Wolverine stuff, like the stuff that Frank Miller, the Wolverine #2, and with Chris Claremont. I still actually have that framed, actually. So I'm so proud to actually own these various different older comics, and they're being so appreciated now, obviously on the big screen. But Spider-Man is really the guy that has been my main comic book, fandom character that I've really come to embrace because he is very human. He's got a lot of problems, and he's someone that is very relatable to. So, there's also been many different film iterations. I'm very happy with the latest iteration. I think that, it's finally Spider-Man's back. It's like the prodigal son has returned. I just love to seeing a new generation grow up with these new comic book characters now on the big screen, where you and I, Obed, growing up, for us, the thought of having these characters on the big screen was just, it was a cute idea, or the representation that we did have was simply, laughable. It wasn't taken very serious by many people. Actors weren't lining up to join up for these roles. And now we have a very respected blockbuster, format for this medium. So I'm really excited about the future that entails for this types of characters and this medium of comic books. Hopefully people go out and start reading more of the books, not just watching the movies, but I'm excited nonetheless.
Awesome, man. Yeah, like we've said before, back then what we had was like the Tim Burton Batmans and the Superman 1 and 2 back from the 70s. But after that, it was really, dry, and you had a few hit and miss, movies here and there. And then the X-Men movies came along, and those were pretty good. And then the Fox movies were not great. Minus the X-Men movies, which have been consistently okay for the most part. But yeah, man, just to think about how far geekdom has come in the last 10 years, it's incredible. It's like, hey, you know what? Finally, we took over.
I know, and that includes even gaming. I mean, and not that gaming wasn't serious back then, but you've seen it evolve. Where now, growing up, you didn't have a handheld in your hand. You didn't have, it was the Game Boy Advance and what have you. We've seen it evolve over time. So,
and now anyone has access to gaming with mobile devices. Of course, they're not going to be a full-fledged experience compared to what you would get on, a dedicated console or a gaming PC, or even something a little more robust. A nice tablet, say for example. But everyone has access to gaming now, and it's incredible. You would see people that would make fun of you back in the day. I was like, oh, you like Dragon Ball and Street Fighter? I was like, yeah, guess what? This is what it is right now, Like Dragon Ball's making partnerships with Adidas and coming up with products and tie-ins, and competitive gaming took over, and it's a big deal, and there's money to be made, and suddenly we're not geeks anymore, right?
That's true. It's true. Yeah. Now suddenly people really respect us, and I'm that guy who in the movie theater, when I get excited about something, people look around at me, they're like, I want to know what this guy knows. So it's like where a time you'd be laughed at, now it's actually like, oh wow, you're almost like respected and appreciated, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. So bloopers aside, Joe, we're going to try and talk a little bit about some things that have been going on with the news. And just jumping right in, I know that some MCU news came out this week regarding Black Widow. So if you want to take over and tell us what's going on with that.
Yeah, so Black Widow for a long time, we've wanted her to have a standalone film. I don't think I've met one fan that's like, she does not need a standalone film. Everyone just wants to see more of her. And the fact that she had that weird movie that came out for a few years ago that people said that it was the Black Widow movie that we needed, just because people wanted to see her as Scarlett Johansson, particularly as Black Widow. And so just happening this week, it's so amazing that we actually got some leaks coming out that Marvel has been developing and is continuing to develop a Black Widow standalone solo film. Release date, to be determined. I strongly believe that that's going to be a Comic-Con announcement. I think that they've been holding out. I just think the leaks are just some positive PR, feel how people would respond to it. But of course, nothing but positive things I've seen. This is something that I knew was going to happen sooner or later. Even though people would say like, oh, they haven't announced anything, you have to remember there was a restructure that happened last year over at Marvel Studios, and the restructure had to do with who Kevin Feige directly reported to. There was another executive that he reported to directly, and this gentleman was more of a business centric individual. So he had that old school mindset of, unfortunately, of that females can't be a strong enough properties in film to lead on their own, or people wouldn't even buy the action figures. So that's why you wouldn't even see like Black Widow action figures, and you wouldn't see the t-shirts as much. It was very rare to find those kind of items. And obviously we didn't have the movies. But ever since last year's restructure, it's important to put into perspective, this wasn't just a Marvel thing. This had to do with the powers that be, specifically to this one gentleman that I'm referring to. And so after that restructure happened, Feige got the win where now he reports directly to Bob Iger at Disney. He doesn't have to talk to this other guy, which is why he's getting the permission to put out like a Black Widow movie, Captain Marvel. And I'm sure there's going to be more down the line. Who knows, maybe She-Hulk. But, this other gentleman now is just focusing on just the TV side. So that's why you got the Inhumans pushed off from movie to television, and you've got some of these other ramifications that are happening. So I think Black Widow, this roll of the dice, this opportunity happening, I think it's going to pay off huge for them because there's people have been waiting for it for a while. But Open, what's your thoughts on a Black Widow solo film?
I think so. I mean, she may be able to carry the movie by herself. She may need a secondary character. I think this would be a great opportunity to introduce another female superhero in her movie, be it someone that came over with Fox or with the Fox acquisition, or some character that hasn't been explored yet. But I believe this would be a great opportunity for that, and just to bring people in, like what Spider-Man did with Spider-Man Homecoming did with Iron Man. Placing Iron Man on the marketing material, but not so much on the movie itself. I think that was a brilliant marketing move. So they would definitely benefit with from having another character to help out and carry the movie. Although Wonder Woman was not that case. Wonder Woman, she was able to carry the movie by herself throughout the entire film, and it turned out to be a very good film.
Absolutely.
So there's definitely opportunities for them to expand on Black Widow, bring in new characters. They definitely have some wiggle room there. My big thing, Joel, is that this looks like they are trying to finalize what Phase 4 may be, and maybe into the future. Of course, there were some possible spoilers out this week regarding Avengers 4 that we talked about. We're not going to talk about it on the podcast because we don't want to talk. We talked about it amongst ourselves, but
that's right.
We don't want to tell you guys, but hey, the internet's a thing. So, but there's some possible spoilers out there. So definitely, Marvel needs that female superhero to stand out. Of course, Captain Marvel's coming soon, but they would benefit with from having another one.
I think the thing that stands out to me is that all we know is that's in development. I would love to see a female director. It would be a great opportunity for that. Just to tell that story.
Yeah, sorry, Joel. I believe there was a female director that was somewhat attached to the project already.
Yeah, I did hear some rumors too.
Yeah,
I
can't remember
think
her name though, but yeah,
yeah, I've heard some stuff too about that. I think the point is this hasn't come from Marvel Studios, but where there's smoke, there's fire, and the media places that are putting it out there, it's credible enough for us to know that this thing's happening. We expected this to be happening, as I said, per the news that happened from last year. I saw some shifts coming in Marvel. But the Phase 4 stuff that you do bring up is a great point because, even with them doing this movie, I think they already know what Phase 4 is. I actually think that they're playing Phase 5 right now, personally. But I do think there's some shuffling going on. And it has to do with what happened with obviously with Fox, the deal that transpired, Disney acquiring those characters. Now, the interesting thing about the Fox stuff is that they won't be able to touch those characters apparently until another 12 months, maybe. For there's still some things that are actually processing and going through. There's a possibility there'll be some legal loopholes, and Disney has enough money to maybe figure that out if they really want to put a character in. But there's still some regulations, things being clear, which is why you're hearing about other Fox properties announcements, and you're like, how come they're going to do a Kitty Pryde movie? Like that was rumored that's
yeah,
supposed to come out and all that. If Marvel Studios is in charge now, they're operating on their own until this deal fully goes through all the regulations that are happening. But I do think that this movie, so the Black Widow movie, could be a prequel, a background to who more Black Widow is, more than what we just saw in Age of Ultron. I think when I say prequel, not in the sense of her becoming Black Widow, but the early years Black Widow. So maybe you get like what happened in Budapest kind of background between her and
yeah,
Hawkeye.
yeah, exactly. I think
Or
that would
other
be,
characters.
yeah, I think that would be sort of what like Wonder Woman was. It was like, hey, this is why she was able to stand toe to toe with Doomsday, and why she's so strong and whatnot. So, um, yeah, they could definitely go with and I would like that because that sounded actually pretty cool when they were talking about it. So,
Yeah. I mean, there's enough mythology stuff out there from just what they've done in the movies, and then the source material that they can blend it together. Marvel's done a great job with telling stories. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I mean, it's good stuff in the Marvel universe.
yeah, we'll see where that goes. I know that this year it's a packed year. I mean, we're gonna have a ton of movies that are that we're excited for. A lot of Blu-ray releases from last year that they still haven't come out. So my wallet. Um, but yeah, and talking about releases, Joel, this is shaping up to be a fantastic another fantastic game for a year for gaming. I'm really excited with just the releases in January alone. Are It's ridiculous. I mean, we have three big games that are coming out. Nintendo just did a Nintendo Direct this morning. Of course, they're porting a lot of stuff from Wii U over, but at the same time, you have to look at what they're doing with the Switch. They're very close to actually beating lifetime sales for the Wii U already, and it's not even a year in. So the Wii U sold around 13 million units, I believe. They're closing in on 11 already, and they still have February and March to get their first year anniversary. So Nintendo's playing it really smart. There were some announcements this morning. Nothing too crazy that really stand out. There's a new SNK all-girl fighter, like there used to be. There used to be a game on the Neo Geo Pocket that I can't remember the exact name of the game, but it was an old girl fighter. So they got older female characters from different SNK properties, and they did a fighting game out of that. This one's going to have a tag team sort of thing, and you can customize their outfits, and it's real cute and all that. So that looks interesting. It's coming out for Switch and PS4. And of course, I think the biggest kind of sort of announcement this morning was that Dark Souls, the original Dark Souls is going to be remastered, coming out on Switch, PS4 and Xbox One this year.
Awesome, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, Nintendo's really bringing it. They really turned that ship around, and I am so happy for them. Nintendo's one of those things that's is very important to me. It's one of those things that you grew up with, right? And it's near and dear to your heart. I guess because Nintendo's popularity kind of like dwindled down a little bit in the
Oh yeah, with
last
the Wii
10
U
years.
for sure.
Yeah, with the Wii U and even with the Wii, I know that some people really remember the Wii fondly, but definitely with the Wii U. But back growing up, back in the '80s and '90s, Nintendo was a big deal. Anything Nintendo did was excellent, seal of quality. They always had
Mm.
that seal of quality, and they always brought it. Um, and I'm really excited to see the direction they're taking. Both the company and their properties are taking some risks, and I really appreciate that. And some of the business decisions and some of the business choices they're making are just really good. Not to put down, Sony as well. They just announced at CES that the PS4 has reached 73.6 million units sold worldwide already,
Phenomenal.
outpacing the PS2. This thing is gonna. There's really no reason for a PS5 yet. I mean, they can roll this thing for 3 more years and be okay.
Yeah, and I know I was going to talk about PS5 later on, but yeah, I'm sure they'll announce it soon enough this coming year about what their plans are for the next generation. But the release date for it does not need to be anytime soon because this thing is just thriving, man.
Yeah, I think they would really damage themselves to do something like Microsoft did uh, last year at E3. They really sealed their death sentence with. They announced a new console a year in advance, more than a year in advance. Uh, you get people saying, "Why would I buy this new console that you just released when I can just wait?" And I can hold on to my old hardware. Uh, so Sony doesn't like to do that much. They really played it safe with the PS4 when they announced it in February, coming out that same year in November. I think because of how things are going, they just sold over 5 million units of PS4 and PS4 Pro in during the holidays. I believe that they can hold off for a year. You know what? Memory's going to get cheaper. Boards are going to get cheaper. Uh, hold off for another year. Announce it February 2019, release November 2019, or spring 2020. That's
Yeah,
that's what I would do if I would be in their shoes. Microsoft, they just need to release games, man. They have a really nice piece of hardware out there that looks very nice.
phenomenal piece of hardware.
Yeah, state of the art. Well built. Uh, they third party games on it look great. It's performing the way it should. They really advertise it as this thing that was going to be capable of 4K. Of course, not every game's built the same, but it's impressive. No, it's a nice box, and it's unfortunate that they're in the shape they're in right now. Of course, Microsoft is not, financially, they're not in bad shape. They're making billions of dollars out of Office and selling server licenses, so they're fine. Don't worry. So Xbox, fans, don't worry about Microsoft. They're doing just fine. They're cashing in on that Office 365. Trust me. Um, but they really need to step up their game when it comes to first party new properties, because they cannot keep using Halo and Gears of War as crutches. I think fans really spoke last year when uh, you got new properties from Sony, you got new properties from Nintendo, and even refreshed properties, which is very very important. Someone like Nintendo that has the capability of relying on its IP, they really used their IP in a fantastic way. They refreshed Zelda, they refreshed Mario. Microsoft could do the same thing, or they can just give that Halo team something new. Look at Gorilla. They Sony let him loose. I was like, hey, you know what? You've made 4 Killzone games. Go ahead and make something new. And look at Horizon, man. That it's a masterpiece. It's a fantastic game through and through. So if Microsoft does the same thing, it's like, hey, listen, guys, do this thing. I'm sure that they're more than capable of producing. But when you go back and hear, Microsoft talking about games as service and PUBG and all these things, it's hard to believe that they're going to actually let their studios move in that direction.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have to give these guys enough opportunities, these different studios, these different creators, the opportunities to put forth some real new stuff dedicated for this system.
Yeah.
Don't keep announcing this third party stuff. Oh, we've got Tomb Raider as an exclusive, and it's not an exclusive. You make mistakes like that. I just think it's fixable. Like we talk about the problems with Microsoft, not in the sense that they're doomed, but in the sense that it absolutely is fixable. And so, I hope that they can look at something like Nintendo. Not that Nintendo was necessarily doing something wrong. They just there was just some stuff that was going on there that they understood how to catch a new generation with the Switch and also make the last generation happy. So the hardware that Microsoft has is great. Now let's get some great games or freshen up what they already have. It's a year of we'll see.
Yeah, and speaking of, where gaming is going and just a little bit on Microsoft, and not to go back and hit him in the head with a hammer, but you go back and you go back to E3. Best example I can give you, Joel, is Phil Spencer comes out and says, "Hey, I went to Japan and I got this game and it's freaking hilarious," and it was Dragon Ball Fighters, which is my most anticipated game of 2018. We're only about 2.5 weeks away, so I am super pumped. I'm so excited. Hey, you know what? I'll keep it a secret. but I'm really excited for that game. And you know what? They go out on E3 and says and post on the screen exclusive. It's like there's no way a Dragon Ball game is going to be exclusive to Xbox when they've sold like 4 in Japan.
Yeah.
So and later, like 2 minutes after the trailer, we found out that it's coming out for everything except Switch. Although their marketing deal is with Microsoft, I've seen, and it has to be because of the install base and the type of game it is. A lot of PS4 hype over the game. There were some they released like the PC requirements. I believe last week, and it was really funny because it's a cel shaded game that doesn't really require a lot of computing power, but then they require like a Ryzen 5 or an i7 for the game.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and and it's fine. That thing's probably gonna run fine on a mid-range PC. But it's always been like that. Developers always overshoot their estimates when it comes to required and suggested hardware settings for PC. But just going back and talking a little bit about Sony and Nintendo, Joe, there's a really good article that came out. It's posted on Kotaku that Japanese hardware sales saw a huge spike in 2017 compared to the previous year. And this is attributed to the Switch basically outselling lifetime sales of the Wii U in Japan already for I'm not gonna say year to date, but for the time it's been out. And also the PS4 was moved a lot of units because of some of their games, right? So games move consoles, innovation moves consoles. That's what Microsoft needs to do. They need to jump in, innovate, produce good stuff. They do have a Sea of Thieves coming out, I believe, in March.
Okay.
That looks pretty interesting. I think it's going to be an okay game. But other than that, I'm assuming there's going to be another Forza Horizon later this year. And I know that they have PUBG released in a very bad state. I know that they fixed some of the performance issues with they've released 2 patches since. They fixed some of the issues that they were having, but it's still a struggle. It's still the control's still terrible. It still doesn't perform really well. But other than that, I mean, you're not gonna have me excited with this awesome graphics if you don't have anything to put on it. So,
Yeah,
and
you're not selling me a 4K Blu-ray player for me to watch movies. I can spend a lot less and pick up one of those. I want to play games.
yeah, it's really funny. I saw an article on GameSpot with like the 20 best Blu-ray 4K Blu-rays you can get for your Xbox One, and then like it doesn't have any game.
Oh my
Why
goodness.
would you do that? So, and as someone that has a 4K Blu-ray player, I'm again the difference, in my opinion, is nominal. And I'm a snob when it comes to picture quality and TV and all these things,
Oh yeah.
and sound. Sound it actually sounds a bit better actually because Atmos even downscaled to Dolby True HD. It does sound louder. It does bring has some extra power to the soundtrack. But when it comes to picture quality, other than color accuracy, using BT 2020, other than that, it's in my opinion, it's nominal. I mean, you won't notice from 10 feet away when you're watching TV. I mean, um, they need to move these things out. Again, I've seen that same pile at my local Best Buy since Black Friday, and it's still there.
I was at Best Buy this last week, and there was plenty of Xboxes. They actually have a like a podium for PlayStation, like an actual like representative that stands there selling like some of the PlayStation stuff, and there was empty shelves in the PlayStation area. It's phenomenal and amazing to see how well PlayStation's selling, but you feel sad when you see the competition that is not just not selling. And we talked about this even during Black Friday. What's the things that we actually saw when I was at Best Buy on Black Friday, or actually technically Thursday, right? You were out there as well. Exactly. We both saw the same thing, and poor little Billy, if his aunt doesn't know the difference between the Xbox One S and One X, and might not have had a great Christmas.
Yeah, they had some really good deals on DS with the bundles and the S and Sierra, not X-Ray. Jeez. Okay, but I don't want to poke fun at names, man. But that name convention's not great either. That doesn't help. That really doesn't help. But I'm really excited. Just to talk about a couple of things that are coming out. Of course, Dragon Ball Fighter Z is coming out. That's going to be on the 26th, and also on the 26th, Joel, Monster Hunter World comes out, and there's a lot of people jumped into the beta, and there's a lot of positive buzz around the game, and I'm excited for Capcom. Capcom has really been trying, man, to get back into good graces with their with their consumer base. They've had a rough time. Street Fighter V came out in a rough shape. Marvel came out in a rough shape, or Marvel didn't really come out in a rough shape. And when I say Marvel, is Marvel versus Capcom Infinite. It didn't come out in a rough shape, but it had its problems. It was the graphics weren't great, and character selection wasn't great. Street Fighter was really bare bones. We do have Street Fighter 5 Arcade Edition comes out next week. I'm really excited to check that out. I'm not sure if I'm going to be invested on Season 3 yet, but I'll definitely jump in and check it out over the weekend or next weekend. But Capcom's really trying to get the people back. Of course, on the 30th, we get Dissidia or Final Fantasy Dissidia NT. That's something that I'm excited about. I'm really a huge fan of the PSP Dissidia games, or a series, if you want to call it that. So I'm really excited. I played the beta. It was a lot of fun. I can't wait. It looks real nice. That game plays really well, and they based on the last video I saw, they really cleaned up the UI. So that's definitely going to help with the visuals. And then Sony has a pretty big remake coming out, Joel, on February 6th. they have the Shadow of the Colossus remake coming out. And just to
That's
clarify,
weird.
yeah, and just to clarify, this is because Joe always gets me when I hear or see gaming journalists that do this professionally call this a remaster. No, what came out for the PS3 was a remaster because it's the remaster version of the PS2 game. This is a from the ground up remake. So this is a remake of Shadow of the Colossus,
Okay.
and it's coming out on February 6th. It looks real pretty. I never got the chance to play Shadow. Maybe I'll give it a chance.
Nice, man. Yeah, I mean, I might even pick it up myself because I didn't play it either. But yeah, that being built up from the ground up like that, it's the best way to go, man. New experience.
Yeah, yeah, and it looks real nice. Like frame rate, they really adjusted a few things, and it looks really good. Unfortunately, I had the story kind of sort of spoiled, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna still enjoy it if I excuse me if I give it a chance. Um, Switch has a pretty big, in my opinion, release on February 16th, and it's the Bayonetta 1 and 2 bundle that's coming out on the Switch. So in case you missed it, last time it was around on the Wii U. Check these games out. These games are phenomenal. They are crazy and they're over the top and ridiculous, but they are so much fun. Like the original Bayonetta, one of the best reviews games of last gen. In Bayonetta 2, I believe got a couple tens out there from some of the outlets when it came out to Wii U. So if you guys didn't get a chance to catch that on Wii U, definitely recommend checking out these games. And in March 20th, Joe, is when we get Sea of Thieves. So we will see how that comes out on the Xbox. Also in March, and this got delayed. This was supposed to come out, I believe, in a couple of weeks or beginning of February. But March 27th, for now, is the release date for Far Cry 5.
Okay.
So
that's a real edgy.
it's a real edgy, especially considering, the political climate in the
Absolutely.
U.S. right now.
I think that's why it's going to sell so good.
I believe so too. That's definitely going to help them out. I am very interested in checking it out. Me personally, I've never played Far Cry, and this might be what gets me into playing Far Cry. It was like Assassin's Creed. I never played Assassin's Creed, but Black Flag got me into playing Assassin's Creed. So
I played Far Cry 3. Had a good time with it. Didn't actually finish the campaign. But yeah, I mean, this one doesn't look bad. Far Cry is not something that really did it for me. Not that I have anything against it or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a big hit on our hands.
Yeah. And then the last two games that I want to talk about real quick, Joel, is the two big Sony games for this year, and that's God of War and Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
So those are probably going to be. I'm definitely going to check both of these games out because
100%.
they both look phenomenal. I played God of War 1. That's the only one I played, and I had a fun time with it. But just to see how they were able to evolve the mayhem of those games and convert it into when you look at this game, it's almost like poetic, right? It's like you're what whenever you watch like a movie about I don't know, Don Quixote or something like that. It's they kind of like turned it into something else. I heard a rumor, Joel, that they may evaluate taking God of War to Egypt after this.
Whoa.
So that's gonna be real interesting. I don't know. I'm hoping that this game does well enough so we can see Kratos versus Anubis. So
Yeah, dude.
that should be.
For sure, I'm picking God of War up. Which was the God of War that they put for free on PS Plus? They put one of them on there, I believe.
Was it Ascension?
I think so. So I think I might go back and play that just to get my hands in there and get a little more well acquainted rather than what I've just seen and heard.
Yeah, I grabbed the because they did both PSP games free for on PS Plus for, and I can play it on the Vita.
Right.
So I may just play it just to see. I mean, there were prequels, but they still play the same as the PS2 God of Wars. So I might check it out. I wanted to actually check out that collection that came out for the Vita. That was, I believe, 1 and 2. It was the PS2 games, but I never had the chance. So I might just check those ones. I mean, just for the heck of it. I know that it's probably not going to matter because this story is going to be so different that it's probably not going to be, of any significant impact. So
Yeah, again, God of War. You and I are both going to be picking that up, and when it comes out, we'll be sure to have a review here on the show.
yeah, and how about your boy Spidey, Joe?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's going to be picking up day one, and I'm going to log so much time on that. It's been a long time since we've had a really good Spider-Man game that's come out. But yeah, no, I'm picking that up, and the story, they've not shown us too much. We know Miles Morales is in there. We've got what's his name, Mr. Negative, if I'm not mistaken, or whatever. That's
Mr. Negative, yeah.
Mr. Negative. That's going to be the main villain in there. The stuff that they showed us at E3, that was beautiful. Yeah, man, I'm just so hyped for this. I wish I had a PS4 Pro because I feel like I'd have it even more. And I know you and I, we talk about this, the 4K stuff. Yeah, it might be minuscule, but just that extra edge, man. I want the full power of playing this game, the full experience.
I think about it too. Whenever whenever a game like this pops up, I was like, man, I do have the 4K TV with HDR. Why not invest in this thing? But at the same time, I think about it's like, what if something new gets announced? It's one of those things, and just to make a half step, I would rather just wait and make the full step up. Yeah, and that's why I opted with just upgrading my hard drive instead of just dropping $350 or $400 on a Pro. And I'm still happy, and I know that I say that I'm happy, but if I actually see a Pro running on my TV, I'll probably say it's like, oh yeah, that's. But it's like that. It's with every new tech. It's like when they announced HD, I was like, oh yeah, I don't need an HD TV, and then you go see an HD TV, and I'm like, oh yeah, I need an HD TV. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, it's always like that, but. From what I've seen on Spider-Man, it looks very impressive. So I'm hoping that Insomniac really brings it. Insomniac is a more than capable developer. They've proved it time and time again. So
that was my game of the year last year at E3.
It was, yeah. Yeah, you're really pumped for that thing, man. I know.
Look at all the Spider-Man behind me, man.
I know. Yeah. To be honest with you, man, I'm really excited where fighting games are going this year and where they went last year when we had,
the
E-League Invitational on TBS, and we had Evo was a huge hit. CEO here in Orlando getting so big that they had to move venues to Daytona Beach, and then CO Otaku having record attendance, and all this talk about fighting games making it into esports and partnerships with Red Bull. And I think that to be a fighting game fan right now is a dream, right? It was like whenever I went to the arcade and Street Fighter 2 was there, I played Street Fighter 2 day and night, and Street Fighter 3 came out and I started playing it, but I really didn't get into it as much as I did with 2. But to see it evolve now, ever since Street Fighter 4 came out, and you saw this sort of a renaissance, and then you have mind-blowingly amazing games like the Guilty Gear XR games. I'm just really excited for the fighting game community. I've been part of that community for a long time, but now I'm really, really excited for them.
Competitively too, you were in some of the competitive sense as well.
Yeah, I did some. Not too much here. I've been too busy with work and life and such. But it's gonna sound like an old man. But back in my day,
There it is.
Back in my day, I used to be pretty involved with Street Fighter and Soul Calibur. So
Nice,
uh,
nice.
I'm really excited for Arcade Edition. I'm hoping that this is the refresh that Street Fighter needs. I actually popped it in over the weekend, man. I was like, hey, you know what? Let me check it out. And I started checking out some of the season 2 characters that I never even touched. So it's fun. It's a fun game,
Nice.
and I'm sure that Arcade Edition is going to just make it a lot better. Um, Joel, I'm really interested to see where 2018 takes us with. I think the most controversial gaming topic of 2017, which was loot boxes. Um, I'm wondering where 2018 takes us on that one.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, loot boxes is something that I think got the most attention just from even what EA did with Battlefront. But I think there has to be an understanding that if you're gonna cross a line where it's going to make where you buy this and it makes you have an advantage in the game, it's not an added experience, it's an advantage. There's a clear distinction of a difference there. Then it's illegal. It's paying to win. It's a gambling process that we've heard said time and time again, and I stand strongly behind that. If you're going to do something that's illegal, it's wrong.
Yeah.
There's no justification behind that. So if it gets to a place where people do try and be sneaky about it again with another property, I think EA, fingers crossed, I think they learned from this past experience. But if someone else tries to do something sneaky with it again in this upcoming year, look, I'm not someone to say this, but I hope that there's some action taken against them, so that way there can be an understanding of this is wrong. There's a clear line being drawn, and we don't have to have these issues as gamers, and we can just play these games and experience them for what they are.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the future of Battlefront 2 is, because at its core, it's a great game, and it's unfortunate that it had to be stained with with the stigma of loot boxes and pay to win. So it was really unfortunate.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I was there. I say it before, I'll say it again. I was there when it was the world premiere. I was in the room at the world premiere of this thing at Star Wars Celebration, and the hype behind it was just amazing. You have thousands of people, I don't know, was it 8,000, 6,000, whatever that was in that room, throwing their lightsabers up, real excited. Yeah, Battlefront 2, because they boasting to the hostess the pre thing about how much time they've spent playing Battlefront 1, and there's so and what rank they're at and what things I'm just bragging in front of all the fellow Star Wars nerds. And I think that it doesn't matter how good your property is. It just shows once you actually get this thing out there, just don't let these things have the cloud hanging over your game, because the game itself is actually good. I mean, I finished the campaign and I'm playing the multiplayer, and this is a good game.
It is.
So that's a fortunate thing. It's different if we were having another conversation where we're saying loot boxes are bad and the game sucks too. That'd be a different conversation, but no, that's not the case here. So let's hope it doesn't hang that cloud over other franchises, releases. I don't know if there's anything that you see maybe down the line that could possibly have this problem, but I'm really hoping it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, I just want to see where this ends for Battlefront, and I know that EA or there's already very strong rumors that Anthem is going to have loot boxes, but EA already said that it's going to be all cosmetic, which is, in my opinion, the way to do it.
Perfectly fine.
Yeah, if you want to get funky hats and funny boots, that's fine. I don't mind. But just giving players an advantage when it comes to gameplay, then that it really does become a problem. And Joel, something that I noticed over the weekend, actually, I was playing Battlefront 2, and over the weekend, for some reason, I've been doing really well. Like, I've been top 5 on most of my matches. And over the weekend, I was like, I'm just getting clobbered here, and I was like, I can't catch a break, and then not even hiding helps, and it's kind of it was not great. I mean, I was getting a little upset. I was a little sweaty over here. Um, but um, after I adjusted and came back and started placing like third on matches, and uh, you know, I was going like right in the middle, not that bottom, but I was placing like fourth, fifth from bottom, or right in the middle. And after I adjusted, I started doing better. But what I heard about, I believe it was yesterday, someone on Reddit posted that EA is changing their matchmaking to pair you with people that play the same as you.
Huh.
So that's why I was getting kind of like not getting anywhere, because like the other guys were also good. So we
I
were.
don't know how I feel about that. I think I'd rather it not be people who are similar to me. I'd rather have a vast.
So when it comes to shooters, I think they should pull everyone in because it's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, of course, when you go to something like fighting games, of course, you're not gonna get a bronze player versus a platinum player, because it's just not
gonna
fair.
happen.
It's just not fair. Not fair for any of them. You know, you're wasting the platinum player's time because they're only gonna get a few points, and then you're wasting the other player's time because they're not getting anywhere.
Sure.
So, on fighting games, it does make sense. On shooters, not so much. That's my opinion.
Sure. The context behind that, I get it.
Yeah. But I'm really excited, Joe. A lot of stuff coming out this year. A lot of things happening. Of course, we want to take no load time to the next level. And we hope you guys enjoy this new sort of format that we have going on. But if you want to stay connected, Joel, where can everyone find us?
Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. We hope that you guys would stay connected with us through social media by giving us follow at No Load Time. That's at No Load Time on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. I'm sure we'll maybe do some Twitches this year, Twitch streams. We'll see.
Hopefully, we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. And then also, we'd love if you could send in some feedback to us, or maybe some questions that we can answer on the show. Anything you want, go ahead and send some emails to noloadtime@gmail.com. That's noloadtime@gmail.com. Also, if you would go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're watching it on YouTube. If you're listening to us online, you could go ahead and give us a subscription on iTunes and Google Play. If you're on iTunes, go ahead and also drop us a review. That really helps. We're so thankful for you guys for joining us. 2018 is a big year for us. There's a lot of things upcoming. I mean, we're talking about, obviously the games, the news that's going to break. I'm going to be at San Diego Comic-Con this year. So there's a lot of big things that are coming for us. We're really excited about this year, man.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you guys, and we hope that you guys enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you next week.
That's right. See ya.